Have you ever wondered why some women seem to walk through life alone, without a husband, yet shine with an inner strength that others can only admire? Today, I want to talk about the power of solitude, the grace of independence, and the divine plan that shapes every life. Being alone is not a curse, it is an invitation from God to discover the greatness within you, to grow, to serve, and to live a life full of purpose and fulfillment. Society may whisper that a woman is incomplete without a husband, but the truth is, God never sees you as incomplete. Every woman has a journey, a story, and a destiny that does not depend on someone else's presence. Today, let's explore how being alone can actually be your greatest blessing. Self-discovery is one of the most beautiful gifts that God gives us, especially when we find ourselves walking alone. When a woman lives without a husband by her side, it can seem at first like an emptiness, like a quiet space waiting to be filled. But in truth, this quiet is not absence. It is presence, the presence of an opportunity, the presence of God's guidance, and the presence of her own untapped potential. In our busy lives, it is rare to get time to simply stop and look inward. We are often so caught up in routines, responsibilities, and the expectations of society that we forget to ask ourselves, who am I really? What is my purpose? What makes my soul truly happy? Being alone is not a punishment. It is a divine invitation to explore the depths of one's own being. Imagine a woman waking up in the morning without the immediate pressures of pleasing anyone else, without the need to answer to someone else's demands. She has a cup of tea in her hand, the soft sunlight coming through the window, and the world still asleep around her. In that moment of silence, she can ask herself questions that only she can answer. What do I want to create today? What dreams have I tucked away that I can now bring into the light? This is the essence of self-discovery. Listening to the whispers of her own heart, without the noise of the world. God speaks in these quiet moments, and when she tunes in, she begins to see her life not as incomplete, but as full of possibilities. Daily life itself becomes a mirror for self-discovery. Cooking her favorite meal without anyone to watch her, she learns patience and creativity. Tidying her space becomes an act of mindfulness, a reflection of the care she has for herself. Even the simple act of walking in the park, feeling the wind, or observing children play can teach her lessons about joy, resilience, and freedom. These seemingly ordinary moments become extraordinary when she pays attention. They reveal her values, her strengths, and the areas in which she longs to grow. God does not always speak through grand events. Often, He whispers through the ordinary. And when a woman is alone, she has the time to notice those whispers, to turn them into guidance for her life. Being alone also allows her to confront her fears and insecurities without distraction. Society often conditions women to believe that they need someone else to feel whole. But when alone, she faces herself directly, and this is where the true magic happens. She begins to recognize that her worth is not dependent on another person's approval, that her identity is not defined by her marital status, and that her potential is limitless. A woman learning to stand in her own light becomes a beacon for others simply by showing what is possible when we embrace God's plan for solitude as a sacred space for self-growth. Consider the story of a woman who always dreamed of writing, but life's responsibilities and societal expectations kept her from pursuing it. Alone, she finally picks up the pen and begins. At first it may feel awkward, the pages may remain blank, and doubt may knock. But as she continues, she discovers a voice she never knew existed, a vision that had been lying dormant for years. God gave her the solitude, not as a punishment, but as a fertile ground for creativity, clarity, and courage. The words she writes are not just stories, they are revelations of her own self, her inner strength, and her unique perspective on life. Each sentence becomes a bridge connecting her heart to her purpose. Even in moments of struggle, the journey of self-discovery is transformative. There will be days when loneliness feels heavy, when the world seems to whisper that she is missing something. But these are the days when God's lessons shine brightest. By sitting with her own thoughts, by observing her reactions, and by understanding her emotions, she learns patience, self-compassion, and resilience. She begins to see that being alone does not mean being abandoned. Instead, it is a sacred chance to discover the divine within herself. Every challenge becomes a teacher, every setback a guidepost, and every quiet moment a sacred dialogue between her soul and God. A woman on this journey also starts noticing the beauty of her daily life in ways she never did before. The sound of birds singing in the morning becomes a melody for gratitude. The aroma of fresh coffee, the laughter of neighbors, or even the rhythm of her own heartbeat becomes a source of wonder. Through this attentive observation, she learns that life itself is an expression of divinity and that she is an essential part of it. She begins to live not for someone else, but in alignment with the higher purpose that God has placed in her heart. Self-discovery, then, is not a destination, it is a lifelong journey, and when a woman embraces it, she unlocks a treasure far greater than any relationship, the knowledge of who she truly is, the understanding of her own worth, and the courage to live fully in alignment with her divine purpose. Every morning, every small choice, every moment of reflection becomes a step forward on this sacred path. God's gift of solitude allows her to emerge from the cocoon of societal expectations and spread her wings with confidence, grace, and inner power. Being alone is not an emptiness to be feared. It is a sanctuary to be cherished. It is in this sanctuary that a woman finds her voice, her strength, and her light. It is here that she discovers that self-love is divine, self-respect is sacred, and self-discovery is the greatest adventure of all. And as she walks this path, she becomes not only a stronger woman, but a living testament to the truth that God's plan is perfect, and that every moment alone is an opportunity to become the person she was always meant to be. Independence is one of the most powerful gifts a woman can cultivate, and it is in the journey of being alone that this strength truly reveals itself. When a woman walks through life without a husband by her side, she faces a choice to see solitude as a burden, or to see it as an opportunity to rise, to grow, and to become her own pillar of strength. God has a way of shaping individuals through circumstances that may seem difficult at first, but in reality are lessons in courage, resilience, and self-reliance. Independence is not just about managing responsibilities alone. It is about discovering that one's own capabilities, decisions, and actions are more than enough to create a fulfilling and meaningful life. Imagine a woman living alone who wakes up early in the morning and begins her day without waiting for anyone else to set the tone for her life. She decides what to eat, how to organize her day, and what small joys to indulge in. Cooking her own meal becomes an act of love for herself. She learns which flavors she enjoys, which routines energize her, and which habits bring her peace. The act of taking care of herself, day after day, is a constant reminder that she does not need to rely on anyone else to meet her needs. In this, she learns one of life's most profound truths. Self-reliance is freedom, and freedom is power. Independence also manifests in decision-making. A woman alone cannot wait for someone else to approve her choices. And in learning to trust herself, she develops clarity and confidence that is unshakable. Whether it is making financial decisions, pursuing a new career, or taking a bold step toward a personal dream, she learns to rely on her judgment. Each decision, whether it succeeds or teaches a lesson, strengthens her belief in her own capabilities. God gives her the solitude to practice this independence, to test her own instincts, and to realize that the ultimate approval comes from within and from Him, not from society or a partner. Daily life provides countless opportunities to cultivate this strength. Managing a household alone, paying bills, maintaining her space, and balancing responsibilities is not a burden. It is a training ground for resilience. Each small victory, whether it's fixing something that broke at home or solving a problem that seemed overwhelming, builds confidence. She learns that no situation is too big to handle, no challenge too complex, and no goal too ambitious. In these everyday acts, God teaches her that independence is not about isolation. It is about empowerment, courage, and the knowledge that she can thrive on her own. Independence also allows a woman to explore her passions and creativity without compromise. When no one else's expectations dictate her choices, she can pursue hobbies, develop skills, or dedicate herself to causes she loves. A woman who enjoys painting, writing, traveling, or volunteering discovers that her creativity and contribution are unlimited when she is free to follow her own path. God uses this freedom to reveal hidden talents and inspire confidence that she never knew she had. Every step she takes in pursuing her dreams is a testament to the strength that arises when independence and faith walk hand in hand. Emotional independence is another aspect of this strength. A woman who relies on her own heart and mind for stability does not crumble when challenges arise. She develops resilience against judgment, societal pressure, or loneliness. Instead of fearing what the world thinks, she learns to focus on what God wants for her life and what she wants for her soul. In her solitude, she becomes a reservoir of inner peace and emotional strength, capable of facing setbacks with courage and grace. Daily life, with its ups and downs, becomes a classroom where God teaches patience, mindfulness, and balance. Even relationships are transformed when a woman is independent. She enters friendships, collaborations, and even potential romantic relationships not out of necessity, but from choice. She is free to give love, support, and attention without losing herself or compromising her values. People are drawn to her strength, her confidence, and her calm because it radiates from someone who knows her worth and lives in alignment with her purpose. Independence, in this sense, is magnetic. It attracts positivity, opportunities, and authentic connections. Perhaps the most inspiring part of independence is the legacy it creates. A woman who embraces her strength alone becomes a role model not just for herself, but for everyone who observes her journey. Children, nieces, friends, or colleagues see that happiness, success, and peace are not dependent on anyone else. They are cultivated through courage, faith, and self-reliance. God uses her story as an example that life's circumstances are not limits, they are opportunities to rise. Every choice she makes, every challenge she overcomes, every dream she pursues alone sends a message to the world. Independence is not loneliness, it is power, it is grace, and it is divinely ordained. Independence, therefore, is not just about standing alone, it is about standing tall, confident, and radiant in God's light. It is about understanding that being without a partner is not a deficit, but a blessing, a chance to discover the full measure of our own capabilities. Daily life becomes a laboratory for self-growth, a canvas for creativity, and a stage for courage. A woman who embraces her independence learns to trust herself, to love herself, and to live fully. And in doing so, she fulfills God's design, shining brightly as a testament to the divine strength that resides in every woman. Purpose over presence is a truth that every woman walking alone must embrace to live a life full of meaning and fulfillment. Society often tells us that life is about having someone by our side, that our value is measured by the presence of a partner. But God teaches a far deeper lesson. Life is about the purpose you pursue, the impact you create, and the alignment of your actions with your divine calling. A woman who understands this truth no longer measures her days by whether someone is beside her. Instead, she measures them by how fully she lives, how courageously she dreams, and how authentically she contributes to the world around her. Consider the morning of a woman living alone. She rises with the sun, not to attend to someone else's needs first, but to align herself with her own purpose. Perhaps she begins by journaling her thoughts, setting intentions for the day, or planning the steps to achieve a personal goal. In these moments, she realizes that life is a canvas, and she holds the brush. God provides the time, the solitude, and the freedom for her to paint her masterpiece. She is not waiting for anyone to validate her choices. She is living in service of the purpose that has been planted in her heart. Daily life is filled with opportunities to live purposefully. Cooking her own meals, she might choose to create something nutritious not only for her body, but as a way to cultivate discipline and self-care. Working on her career, she can devote herself to excellence without compromise, knowing that her contributions matter and that she is fulfilling the talents God has entrusted to her. Even small acts of kindness, such as helping a neighbor or volunteering in her community, become expressions of her purpose. Each task, each choice, each action becomes a building block in the life she is creating for herself, not one dictated by societal expectations or the presence of a partner, but by divine alignment and personal intention. Living with purpose also transforms challenges into opportunities. A woman who has no partner may face loneliness, societal judgment, or moments of doubt. Yet, when purpose is the focus, these challenges are reframed as lessons, as chances to grow stronger and wiser. God uses every difficulty to teach resilience, patience, and trust. When she channels her energy into meaningful work, creative projects, or service to others, she discovers that purpose fills the void that absence might create. Her life becomes abundant, vibrant, and deeply satisfying because it is aligned with a higher calling. Take, for example, a woman who has always dreamed of teaching or mentoring. Alone, she may feel the initial sting of societal pressure. Questions like, "Why are you not married?" or "Who will support you?" But she does not let these voices define her journey. Instead, she dedicates her time to her dream. She starts mentoring children in her neighborhood, sharing her knowledge and wisdom. Every lesson she gives, every life she touches becomes a testament to her purpose. God magnifies these efforts, showing that the impact of a woman living with purpose far exceeds the significance of mere presence beside another person. Purpose over presence also cultivates joy that is independent of external validation. A woman who lives aligned with her purpose wakes up with excitement rather than obligation. She feels fulfilled not because someone notices her, but because she is living authentically in harmony with her values and God's design for her life. The joy of creating, helping, learning, and growing becomes her companion, replacing the need for someone else to provide happiness or completeness. Life becomes a journey of self-expression, and each day is rich with meaning. Moreover, when a woman focuses on purpose rather than presence, her relationships transform naturally. She no longer enters connections out of neediness or fear of loneliness. She contributes love, support, and energy freely, knowing that her completeness is not dependent on another person. Friends, colleagues, and family members are drawn to her vibrancy, inspired by the woman who is centered, purposeful, and deeply aligned with God's plan. Her presence, grounded in purpose, becomes more powerful and magnetic than it ever could be if it were defined by the presence of a husband or partner. Even the simplest moments of daily life reinforce this principle. Cleaning her home can be a meditation in discipline and gratitude. Exercising can be a celebration of her body's strength. Learning a new skill or reading a book can feed her mind and soul. God shows her that every small choice made with intention is a step toward a larger purpose. The fulfillment that comes from living with purpose cannot be diminished by absence because it is anchored in divine alignment and self-awareness. Ultimately, purpose over presence teaches that life is not a waiting game. It is an active, creative, and intentional journey. A woman alone is not defined by what she lacks, but by what she contributes, what she learns, and how she grows. God does not measure her by whether she has a husband. He measures her by the love she gives, the courage she displays, the knowledge she shares, and the light she spreads in the world. Each day becomes an opportunity to step closer to her potential, to live fully, and to embody the truth that presence is secondary, but purpose is primary. When a woman embraces this mindset, she becomes unstoppable. She learns that life's deepest fulfillment is not found in someone else's presence, but in aligning with her true purpose. Daily life becomes a stage for impact, growth, and divine fulfillment. She becomes a living example of God's wisdom. Happiness, success, and meaning are not dependent on who is beside you. They come from who you are, the choices you make, and the purpose you serve. Purpose over presence is not just a lesson, it is a way of life, a divine principle that transforms solitude into strength, absence into opportunity, and life into a masterpiece. Inner peace is a treasure that every woman walking alone has the opportunity to cultivate, and it is far more valuable than any companionship that exists outside herself. In a world that constantly pulls our attention outward, with expectations, judgments, and demands, solitude can feel heavy, even lonely. Yet God, in His infinite wisdom, provides these moments of quiet as a sanctuary, a space where the mind can rest, the heart can heal, and the soul can connect with its deepest truths. Inner peace is not just a feeling of calm, it is a profound understanding that, no matter the circumstances, one is enough, and life itself is sufficient when guided by faith, gratitude, and divine alignment. Imagine a woman living alone, waking early in the stillness of morning. The house is quiet, the air crisp, and the world seems to pause. In this sacred stillness, she takes a few moments to breathe deeply, to listen to the rhythm of her own heartbeat, and to feel the presence of God in the gentle unfolding of the day. In these moments, she is reminded that happiness does not arrive with someone else. It is cultivated within. Inner peace becomes her companion, a silent friend who offers stability when the chaos of life arrives, a light that illuminates even the darkest corners of uncertainty. Daily life itself becomes a teacher of inner peace. When she encounters challenges, whether a work-related setback, a health concern, or a difficult interaction with someone, she begins to notice that reacting in haste or anxiety does not solve problems. Instead, by pausing, reflecting, and connecting with God, she learns to respond with clarity and patience. Preparing a meal, for instance, may turn into a mindful ritual, chopping vegetables with care, appreciating the colors and textures, and feeling gratitude for nourishment. Even such simple acts, performed with awareness and intention, transform her inner world, strengthening her calm and grounding her spirit. Inner peace also thrives in the practice of self-reflection. A woman alone has the time to look inward, to explore her emotions, and to understand her thoughts without distraction. She learns to forgive herself for past mistakes, to release resentment toward others, and to embrace her imperfections as part of her divine design. God's wisdom unfolds through this process, teaching her that serenity comes not from controlling the external world, but from mastering her inner life. By observing her reactions and choosing responses aligned with love, patience, and faith, she cultivates an unwavering sense of calm that no external circumstance can shake. Consider the power of walking in nature. Alone, A woman may stroll through a park, feeling the warmth of sunlight on her face, the softness of grass under her feet, and the gentle murmur of birdsong. In these moments, she experiences a profound connection to life itself, recognizing the divine presence in every detail. God uses nature as a mirror for inner peace, showing that balance, harmony, and serenity are part of creation. And by aligning with this rhythm, she can bring that same calm into her own mind and heart. Daily life becomes a meditation, a continuous practice of noticing, appreciating, and harmonizing with the world around her. Inner peace also transforms relationships. A woman who carries calm within her interacts with others from a place of love and understanding rather than fear or neediness. She listens attentively, speaks thoughtfully, and responds with patience. Her presence itself becomes soothing, inspiring others to reflect on their own inner lives. God teaches that true peace is contagious. It is not something kept hidden, but shared naturally through compassionate words, deliberate actions, and a steady, gentle demeanor. Friends, family, and even strangers feel the influence of her calm, drawn to the confidence that comes from living in alignment with the divine presence within. Even in moments of solitude, inner peace provides joy and fulfillment. A woman who enjoys reading a book, listening to music, meditating, or simply observing her surroundings experiences a deep contentment. She is not dependent on someone else for happiness. Her fulfillment comes from the connection to her own soul and to God. Daily rituals, no matter how small, become sacred practices of gratitude and mindfulness, reinforcing the truth that peace is not a destination but a way of living. Life will inevitably present challenges, but inner peace ensures that these challenges are met with resilience and grace. A woman who cultivates this companion knows that she is capable of navigating difficulties without panic, that she can find solutions without losing herself, and that God's guidance is always present in moments of uncertainty. She becomes a living example of strength rooted in calm, a demonstration that fulfillment is found not in external presence, but in the quiet mastery of the inner self. Ultimately, inner peace is the foundation upon which a woman builds her life. It allows her to walk alone without feeling lonely, to face obstacles without fear, and to live fully without depending on external validation. God provides this sacred companion as a gift, reminding her that she is complete, she is capable, and she is deeply loved. In embracing inner peace, she discovers that life's richest blessings do not come from who is beside her, but from the serenity, strength, and divine presence she carries within herself. This companion, invisible yet powerful, becomes her guide, her teacher, and her most loyal friend, illuminating the path of a life lived with purpose, courage, and grace. Building stronger relationships is one of the most beautiful gifts a woman can cultivate, and it is often through walking alone that she discovers how to truly connect with others. When life places her on a path without a husband by her side, she may initially feel a sense of emptiness or separation. Yet God has a profound way of transforming solitude into strength, and in that strength lies the ability to form relationships that are authentic, meaningful, and deeply enriching. A woman who has learned to stand on her own, to care for her own heart, and to nurture her inner self brings a unique energy into her interactions. An energy that is magnetic, inspiring, and grounded in wisdom. Daily life provides countless opportunities to practice and deepen this gift. A woman living alone may spend time with family, friends, or colleagues, but she approaches each interaction differently than someone who depends on constant validation from a partner. She listens attentively, not with the goal of responding perfectly, but with the intention of understanding. She offers her time, her support, and her attention fully, because she knows the value of giving without expectation. God teaches her that love and connection are not about dependency. They are about presence, empathy, and authenticity. Consider a woman volunteering at a local community center, mentoring children, or helping those in need. She gives her energy freely, without waiting for recognition or reward. In this process, she learns patience, compassion, and understanding. She discovers that relationships, whether with children, colleagues, or neighbors, are strengthened by selflessness and genuine care. God uses these moments to show that her life's value is amplified not by who stands beside her, but by the positive impact she creates in the lives of others. Each connection she nurtures becomes a reflection of her inner growth and divine guidance. Even casual interactions in daily life carry lessons for stronger relationships. A conversation with a friend over coffee, a thoughtful gesture to a colleague, or a kind word to a stranger becomes more meaningful when she approaches it from a place of fullness rather than need. A woman who is content alone is not seeking approval or attention. She interacts authentically, allowing others to feel seen, heard, and appreciated. God teaches her that relationships built on respect, trust, and sincerity are far more lasting than those built on dependency or superficiality. Being alone also allows a woman to reflect on her past interactions and understand how she can improve herself in relationships. She recognizes patterns of misunderstanding, impatience, or fear and takes steps to heal and grow. She may journal her thoughts, meditate on her actions, or pray for guidance in cultivating kindness and empathy. Through this intentional practice, she discovers that the strongest relationships are those that begin with self-awareness and self-love. God uses solitude as a classroom for emotional intelligence, teaching her how to give love without losing herself and how to support others without compromising her own values. Consider the small, everyday gestures that strengthen connections. A woman living alone might take the time to call a distant friend just to ask how they are, share a meal with a neighbor who lives nearby, or send an encouraging message to a colleague. Each act, seemingly ordinary, becomes extraordinary when done with mindfulness and care. God teaches that relationships are built in these small moments of attention and kindness, and that true connection requires effort, presence, and authenticity. Independence and solitude also give her the ability to choose relationships wisely. She learns not to enter connections out of loneliness, fear, or societal expectation, but from genuine desire to share love, joy, and support. She can set healthy boundaries, communicate openly, and maintain her integrity without compromise. This discernment ensures that the relationships she forms are not just numerous, but meaningful. God shows her that the quality of her connections matters far more than the quantity, and that by nurturing strong, authentic bonds, she creates a network of love and support that sustains her throughout life. A woman who builds stronger relationships also inspires others to do the same. Friends and family notice her patience, her attentiveness, and her ability to remain calm and loving even in difficult situations. Colleagues see her fairness, her empathy, and her willingness to contribute selflessly. Her presence becomes a model of how relationships can flourish when rooted in trust, respect, and integrity. God uses her example to remind everyone around her that true connection comes not from dependency, but from the fullness of a heart that has learned to stand alone and yet reach outward in love. Ultimately, building stronger relationships is a byproduct of a woman who knows herself, values her independence, and nurtures her inner peace. God uses solitude not to isolate her, but to prepare her, to help her grow into someone who can connect deeply, love authentically, and inspire profoundly. Every conversation, every act of kindness, and every thoughtful gesture becomes an opportunity to express the divine qualities within her. Through the strength gained in her alone time, she is able to give, receive, and sustain relationships in ways that are profound, lasting, and life changing. In embracing this truth, a woman learns that relationships are not just about presence, they are about depth, intention, and love. She discovers that God's wisdom often places her alone, not as a limitation, but as a blessing, preparing her heart to create connections that are rich, genuine, and enduring. Life's greatest companionships are not found in mere proximity. They are found in the love, understanding, and respect that she brings into every interaction, nurtured by the divine strength she has cultivated in her own solitude. Resilience in adversity is one of the most powerful qualities a woman can cultivate, and it is often through walking alone that this strength is fully revealed. Life is unpredictable, and challenges are inevitable, yet God equips those who face hardship with the tools to rise, adapt, and flourish. A woman without a husband by her side may encounter difficulties that feel overwhelming: societal judgments, moments of loneliness, career setbacks, or personal struggles. But these are not meant to break her. Instead, they are opportunities for God to cultivate resilience, courage, and unwavering faith. Each challenge becomes a stepping stone, each obstacle a teacher, and each moment of struggle a chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more aligned with her divine purpose. Daily life provides countless examples of resilience in action. Consider a woman managing her household alone. The bills must be paid, meals must be prepared, errands run, and responsibilities balanced. There may be days when everything seems to pile up at once: an unexpected expense, a repair that must be made, or a demanding work project. At first, she may feel the weight of it all pressing down. Yet, with each challenge, she discovers her capacity to solve problems, to make decisions, and to take action calmly and effectively. God teaches her through these moments that resilience is not about avoiding difficulties. It is about learning to navigate them with faith, patience, and determination. Resilience is also cultivated through emotional strength. A woman walking alone faces moments when societal pressure or unsolicited opinions may cause doubt. People may question why she is not married or suggest that her life is incomplete. Initially, these voices can feel heavy, but over time, she learns to listen instead to God's guidance and the voice of her own heart. She realizes that her worth is not dependent on others' validation, and that her strength comes from trusting God's plan for her life. Each time she stands firm in the face of criticism or misunderstanding, her resilience grows, transforming fear into confidence and anxiety into calm. Consider the story of a woman pursuing her dreams alone. Perhaps she has always wanted to start her own business, learn a new skill, or travel to a place that inspires her. The path may be challenging. Financial constraints, logistical hurdles, and self-doubt may arise, but each difficulty is an invitation from God to develop perseverance. She learns to strategize, to problem solve, and to remain committed even when the road is difficult. Each success, no matter how small, becomes a testament to her resilience, and each setback becomes a lesson that prepares her for greater triumphs. Resilience is also evident in the way a woman handles personal setbacks, such as failed relationships, loss, or disappointment. She may feel the sting of unmet expectations or the ache of unfulfilled desires. Yet, through reflection, prayer, and faith, she learns that adversity is temporary and that God has a purpose for every moment of struggle. She begins to see that life's challenges are not punishments, but opportunities to develop inner strength, patience, and understanding. In this way, every hardship becomes a teacher, and every difficulty transforms into a step toward a more empowered, self-aware version of herself. Daily life provides smaller, yet equally profound, opportunities to practice resilience. A woman who faces a long commute, demanding work responsibilities, or the challenges of learning something new may initially feel frustrated or exhausted. Yet, by choosing to approach each day with determination, patience, and faith, she trains her mind and heart to remain steady in the face of adversity. God's wisdom becomes evident in these moments, reminding her that resilience is cultivated through persistence, small victories, and the courage to continue even when circumstances are not perfect. Resilience also strengthens her relationships and community impact. A woman who has developed resilience can offer support, encouragement, and inspiration to others. Friends, family, and colleagues see her ability to remain calm under pressure, to rise above challenges, and to face life storms with courage. Her journey becomes a living example of what is possible when faith, determination, and inner strength are cultivated. God uses her story to encourage others, demonstrating that adversity is not a roadblock but a gateway to growth, empowerment, and divine alignment. Ultimately, resilience in adversity is a testament to the strength that God has placed within every woman. It is the ability to face life's trials without losing faith, to meet challenges with courage, and to transform obstacles into opportunities for growth. A woman walking alone learns that she is capable of far more than she ever imagined, that her spirit is unbreakable, and that her journey, though sometimes difficult, is preparing her for greatness. Each day she rises stronger, wiser, and more confident, embodying the truth that resilience is not simply enduring hardship, but thriving through it, guided by God's wisdom and her own unwavering determination. Through resilience, a woman discovers that adversity is not the end of the story. It is a chapter that shapes her character, reveals her potential, and prepares her for a future filled with purpose, joy, and fulfillment. She learns to trust the process, embrace the lessons, and move forward with courage. Life may challenge her, but she rises each time, shining as a living testament to the divine strength, faith, and resilience that reside within her.